Hello there. What's up? Welcome to another episode of my podcast, FXck The What If. It's Aaliyah, your girl. So, I always just want to say thanks for tuning in. You know, this is a great time of the week. It's Monday when I'm dropping the episode, but whatever day you're listening to it, I hope your day's going well. We're going to talk about nostalgia today. Because, we're at this weird age where, we're finally acknowledging what it's like to be an adult with memories and maybe realizing that some of our childhood memories may not be, fully put together, or there are some things that, you talk to your parents about and they literally uncover things that completely buried themselves in your brain. So also, the feeling of nostalgia when maybe you drive past your old high school or you visit your hometown, or you're catching up with a friend who you haven't spoke to, or something that just takes you back. And at this age, at this young adult stage, we're finally realizing the value and the importance of having those good things to look and reflect back on. Especially when life gets a little shaky, a little unexpected. It's nice to have things to just think on. So that's what we're gonna get into today. It's always great to walk yourself down memory lane every now and then, especially through maybe small memories of the ice cream truck. If you had the privilege to enjoy ice cream from the ice cream truck, or just hearing it in your neighborhood while you're doing other things with your friends, to maybe your elementary school days, then middle school, that wonky weird puberty age, your high school age, and then whatever you're doing now, maybe your vacations, the memories that you're making with your friends now that we're legal and we are allowed to rent out hotels and Airbnbs, rent cars if maybe you don't own one, things like that. It's really nice to have things to look back on and just enjoy, be yes, that was a good time. And it's even better to be with the people maybe you enjoyed that experience with, to be talking to them about this great memory, this great time. That feeling of reminiscing is so unique in its own right, because you can appreciate the best parts of something when you're looking back on it. Hindsight is 20/20. So looking back on good times, you really get to soak in the big picture of maybe the whole experience, what you were doing, why you guys were there. Smaller nuanced things like conversations that you had, or big pivotal moments. There's also something, I was listening to another podcast by Amanda Seales, her podcast Small Doses. In one of her episodes, she talks about how people don't change. Life is what changes people. And reminiscing on those moments are also very gratifying as a person, because this whole damn podcast is about us learning and living life and doing better, and just becoming better. So to reflect on those moments in your life where you do see where things have changed or pivotal moments where you were at a crossroads, and now that you're well beyond that, you can look back and reflect. That's a huge thing, a huge important part of life, to be able to be self-aware of when and how those things changed for you. It's also great to reflect on those fun times too, because in the moment you always are saying things like, or I don't know about y'all, but me, I'm totally saying things like, oh, good things don't always last forever, so we have to enjoy them in the now, like as a joke. But I'm always just trying to be super grateful in the moment. Like, some people take pictures, like a bunch of pictures. I'm one of those people who will just like put my phone down and just like look around, soak in the moment, like take deep breaths, breathe in whatever it is like that I'm doing. It's great because I will have the memory of just doing that in that time at that place, being grateful and knowing that I was able to experience that, or as people looking back on those wonderful moments where we're like, wow, like this is what makes life worth living. Those are very important things to have. And it's a nice reminder of how vast the world is in the grand scheme of things and how little we are, that these 1-2 like small moments for us can last a lifetime. Things that we'll hold dearly in our memories. So to have those things is really great. And to be able to reflect on those things is also really great. Of course, though, I mean, there's always a but. There's definitely gaps in our memories as well. I remember in one of my university lectures, somebody, I think it was one of my TAs, saying how our memories of events sometimes aren't to be trusted. And when I say sometimes, I mean like a good majority of the time. Because often our brain remembers the last time we remembered the event. So instead of actually remembering the event, we're remembering the memory that we had of the event. And I mean, you can see how as an adult over time, that affects things in the long run. So it's also to be very conscious of the emotions and the memories that you do have, because a lot of times for some of us, maybe those events were harmful or quite genuinely traumatic. Not the way people say like, oh my God, I had to call a doctor for the first time and it was like traumatizing. Like, no, I mean like genuinely life-altering trauma. So it's important to be conscious that the mind is a very complex thing that we don't really understand, especially scientifically when it comes to memories, and how our independent individual brains, environments, experience all have an impact on how we do store these files in our brain is something else to consider, because what may work for some people may not work for you. So understanding how your memories work, like, it's also really fun, as I was saying earlier, reflecting on those memories with your peers, those people who experienced it with you. That's a cool way to test your memory as well, and not only get other perspectives from that same event, but to also maybe get extra details that you may have slipped your mind or you may have forgotten about, because that can also add to the strength of your memory too. with that being said, there's also the occasion where you may get lost in your nostalgia. There's a really thin line between enjoying the past and just reflecting on it, and then continually living in your past. I'm not telling anybody to move on. That's not what I'm here to say. It's never that easy. Like, first of all, what? If it was that easy, we would all be perfect and live perfect lives. Because nothing would affect us. It would literally just roll off our backs like nothing. So there is a difference between letting our past define us and create us, and also letting it dictate our future. Because of course our past is part of our identity. That is unchangeable. You cannot go back in time and rearrange anything that's already occurred. You just have to accept it for what it is, in whatever way that's productive and healthy for you. And understand that the knowledge of your past is what you should allow to help you make decisions in the future, but you also shouldn't let it rule decision making. There's also this funny little thing called logic, and logically speaking, you really can't predict anything. Like, the world around you is going to happen no matter what. You just have to create an action based off of your memories to let it bring you to the next level, bring you to the next step. Nostalgia is one of those things, though, that can also, like, the feeling of nostalgia, it's like a good feeling that comes with recalling memories. It's a very sentimental kind of emotion. It can be sort of melancholy at times too. And you can also reflect on those times from a different perspective. Now that, of course, you maybe have changed your mind, or you've come out of certain situations where you're asking yourself, like, oh, man, shoulda, coulda, woulda, if I, whatever. But you also have to give your past self credit. I was watching a YouTube video, School of Life. I know I sound like the self-help queen out here, but really, like, the internet is full of information. Just click from your smartphone. But anyways, I was watching this YouTube video, School of Life. Pretty sure it's literally, like, talks about nostalgia. But there was a very powerful moment where they said something along the lines of remembering that the past you had all the information, had the full picture, had the full understanding of the situation of that time, in order for you to use that knowledge and information to make the decision, to make the move, to do what you did that you still think about to this day. Past you on the back for having the balls to do whatever that was. Like I said, you can't go back and change it, but you can appreciate the impact and the effect that it has had on the current, present you. it's super weird, though, to think how far you may have come from that decision, but ultimately accepting that it's already taken its place and it's running its course is powerful as well. Let it be your additional motivation to drive you forward, because you know that no matter what, you are going to have, or at least assume in the moment when it is important, that you do have the information and you do have the full awareness of whatever it is that you're deciding to do. Because you did that one point. Stop beating yourself up for it. It's okay. It happened and you're still here. Thanks for sticking around. Nostalgia really is a double-edged sword, baby. I mean, we've talked about how great it can be to stroll down memory lane, and how it can also be a little bit of a balancing act when it comes to acknowledging the past for what it is and accepting it, moving on and moving forward, but also being able to appreciate what happened to you, so that way you can understand and maybe, I don't know, love yourself a little more. Cut yourself a little more slack. Like, don't be so hard on yourself. You are your biggest critic. You know yourself, or, I mean, you have the best idea of yourself, so just understand that a lot of it is all, what's the word? Self-fulfilling. Manifestation, whatever your version of that is. It's also super critical, like I said, to cherish things in the moment, to be grateful, to be thankful. Nostalgia can be amazing, especially when it comes to remembering and getting the sensation of those phenomenal experiences that you've had in your life, on your own, with friends. It really does, for me personally, remind me how much fun living is. Like, one of my favorite memories, okay, it's quite recent. I guess I'll share a little bit. I was blessed enough to travel before the pandemic. So I was able to go to the Dominican. And there was one night I was with my best friend. We were wasted, like 5, 6, like 1.5 ounce tequila shots deep. We've got mixed drinks with double tequila, like wasted. And it's like 3, 4 a.m. because it's an all-inclusive trip. We work hard, we play harder. And I remember being so wasted at the bar, looking over at my friend Jess and being like, so, do you see the sky right now? Or, like, am I alone in this? And we both looked at each other and knew immediately that we were about to go all the way to the other side of the resort at this dark, dark hour in this foreign country just to go lay on some dusty gazebo floor and look at the stars. Maybe the sky was spinning a little bit, obviously. I mean, we did have to trek all the way to the other side of the resort, but I feel like that's what made the moment better. Like, living in that experience, like, even looking back, I remember wearing, like, my Nike sweater, like a Nike zip-up hoodie. I don't remember what bottoms I was wearing. I was too wasted to remember that. but I know I was fucking cold and I wanted to stare at the stars. So those moments I cherish because great friend, great place. The trip was phenomenal. And it was like, as an adult, one of the first things I planned independently. Like, you know, you go on trips with your friends, but I got to plan this. And looking back, that was another, like, cute little accomplishment. Was able to set myself up to see the stars. Set myself up to make some great fucking memories. But yeah. It's important not to let your memories eat you alive. We all make mistakes too. I wanted to mention that. We all also make mistakes, and the most important thing is to make the mistake and learn from it. That's the important part. You will probably make the mistake though multiple times. And the important thing is that you're gonna fucking remember making that mistake the many times that you make that mistake. You just have to realize that you're making a mistake and what it is in the first place. And how do you do that? By reflecting. Also, though, reflecting and, like, critiquing yourself is totally separate. You gotta reflect, look back on that mistake, realize where you may have went wrong, and kind of move forward from there. Whatever plan of action is best in your situation, but we all make mistakes. We can't go back in time, though. So, thinking about that thing that you did in, like, the 5th grade that got you fucking embarrassed for, like, I don't know, a good 5 seconds then, while you're, like, laying in bed at night thinking about it. Of course you're gonna sweat it, but, like, seriously, don't. Nobody cares. You care, but nobody cares. We all make mistakes, especially the small ones. Don't sweat it too much. If you got a guilty conscience, that's a different mistake. That's not what I'm talking about. But, I mean, you got to figure that one out for yourself there, bud. That was so Canadian. Ooh, I'm so sorry. And that was even more Canadian. Wow. Anyways, I think I'm going to stop the episode there before I say anything else. It's super corny. Thanks for tuning in. Like always, give this a share, a like, leave me a little comment. I love that. Send me a message if you have me on my socials. But otherwise, enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for tuning in, and look forward to my next episode on Monday.